Oh my god.
We got
Me
Red
on this
in. Holy
channel?
shit.
What the fuck? The dead channel. Dead.
Fucking Red.
Red leaves, it becomes a dead channel. Coincidence? I'm sorry.
But don't
No,
worry, Red. The British Devil is always here to
oh
keep
my
everything
God.
in check.
How did you know I'm cripplingly afraid of British people? What's up? What's this? So, what's the theme of this modcast? What are we talking
We're
about?
talking about
Oh,
a
I'll be
couple
here
of the
for
anime
as long as I
premieres.
feel like. By the way, audience.
I'm talking about a couple of the anime premieres, the chapters, and a few other little bits and pieces of news right now, including the Cartoon Network maybe being shut down, maybe not being
Oh yeah.
shut down.
Play the news station. Breaking. So much fucking shit happening right now. Please, God, too much.
Yeah, Giant Meteor 2024, please.
Well, that's the crazy part, right? Like, among all of this crazy anime and peak fiction, there is the looming threat of nuclear war always above us.
And how appropriate, considering one of the series we're talking about is Chainsaw Man.
Dude, yeah, I know, dude. If a nuke goes off, do you think Fujimoto will make the War Devil get like a huge buff in his series?
Probably,
Why?
probably.
That's fucked up. Anyway, guys, who here has seen the first episode of Bleach?
This is
I have.
awful.
I have, and I've got to say,
Vex.
I've got to say one thing quickly. A moment of silence because we will never get to hear Red do Shinji.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Luke. Yeah. I'm sad that didn't go anywhere. You know, Retro Rhino really did fucking absolutely disappear off the face of the internet, as far as I can tell.
I know where he's gone. I actually know
he's got
where
a bunch of jobs actually animating anime, right?
Yeah. He animated.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, he animated Shield Hero Season 2.
That's very cool. I'm glad that got him like a foot in the door. You know, like
Yeah.
It's too bad that it didn't go anywhere. The Bleach didn't go anywhere, but it did what it should have, which is get him a foot in the door in his dream career. So I'm happy for him on that one.
And I'm just thinking, would it come full circle if it turned out he was actually one of the animators on the Thousand-Year Blood War?
That'd be sick as fuck. That'd be actually really fucking, dude. That'd be so cool. I hope that's a great idea.
I mean,
surely that'd be because Johnny Young Bosch knows him. He worked with Johnny Young Bosch on that first episode.
Yeah, I honestly cannot believe he actually got Johnny Young Bosch.
Well, I was there in the Discord when that happened. Were you or no?
Yeah, like
no.
So I was in the voice actor Discord, and that was like a huge. Oh, I'll give you some inside drama right the fuck now, dude. Because we had an Ichigo. You know, we had a guy who Retro Rhino had promised, like, all right, you're our Ichigo, right? And like, that's a huge thing, right? And then after they're like just about to start making the shit, all of a sudden he gets the message from Johnny Young Bosch, right? And he's like, fuck, right? Because I remember like he had a Discord call with us where he's like, what do I do? Because like Johnny Young fucking Bosch is offering to be our Ichigo, but I got this guy who I've like promised is going to be our Ichigo. And like everyone in the chat was like, bro, it's Johnny Young Bosch. Like the guy will understand. And then the Ichigo like that we already had came in and he said like, bro, it's Johnny Young Bosch. I don't care. Give it to him.
To be honest, if it was me in the same position, I'd probably say the same thing.
Yeah, and like it was like we'll give you any other character you want, bro. Like pick the fucking character. You can be them.
It was
anyway.
Insane. Like that. I remember that because that was when we were living together. That you just happened.
Oh yeah, I filled you in on all the tea, probably.
No, I was sitting in the living room while you were in the call.
Oh yeah.
I think, prepping for a stream at that time. Because it was.
Did you stream in that fucking apartment?
We tried.
Oh yeah, the internet was super choppy.
Yeah, like that was the same issue with like streaming for Twitch for so long at the other apartment. Is just like the internet had not improved in the 3 years I hadn't been in that complex.
Yeah, you gotta get lucky on that. I mean, I'll let you know if you're looking for apartments with good internet. I'm really a big fan of the internet. Here has been really good at nondescript apartment. I'm not going to name on this podcast.
Yeah, I know it's apparently Spectrum because you mentioned the Spectrum guy was coming.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with Spectrum out of the 2 or 3 choices we have here. Monopolies. Yeah.
Yeah,
out of the 2 or 3 choices, the Spectrum seems to be the best.
The Spectrum and Xfinity seem to be both really good options.
I think that's the same brand, is it not?
No, Spectrum used to be.
I thought it was Spectrum and Xfinity. I thought they let me Google this.
Spectrum is what used to be Charter Internet. Comcast is Xfinity. I've had both.
Spectrum Internet.
I had
Okay.
Spectrum when it got bought out, or I had Charter when it got bought out and merged into Spectrum, or whatever happened there.
No, maybe I don't know what I have then. Let me double check which one I actually have, because I thought it. Oh, hold on, I know I have an app for this. This is what we're talking about right now. Fuck the other. Let's talk about internet companies. You feel free to talk about shit while I figure out what internet provider I have.
So, like I remember just because I think it was.
Hey, good news! I have Xfinity. I have Xfinity. I just looked at my modem or router, or whatever the fuck it is.
Cool.
So
I can
yeah,
transfer my service there.
yeah, I have no issue with it. Xfinity's never been bad for me. But anyway, okay. So we have to. Vex, why don't you watch Bleach? It's Bleach.
Because I've been rereading the manga because it's been since we were in college since I actually went.
That is fair. Okay. Here's my. All right, I have a couple takes on Bleach. Okay, one is, it's been years since I watched Bleach. My standards have increased. And it's like, and I say this with all the love in the world. And I also say this reminding everybody that for me, even though the word mid has come to mean like shitty, I mean it as mid, like actually average, right? But I forgot how painfully mid Bleach is. The animation is incredible. They've really stepped it up. I thought the sound design was amazing. I love the music. I love the sound that the shadows make when it like teleports them to the Vandenreich. All that shit's really cool. But like, wow, bro, I forgot like the dialogue is like super awkward. Like the like fucking 5-minute argument about like leftover bread. I'm like, dude, did I used to think this was funny? Is this funny dialogue? Because I remember that manga like the back of my hand, and like Kubo would waste like half a chapter on like a weird like conversation, like I don't know. He strikes me as the type of mangaka who thinks that like someone telling someone to shut up is funny. Like you almost hit me with your arrow, shut up, and then that's like the punchline. There's no joke beyond that. I'm like, wow, dude. Like, I don't know. It's not bad. Like I still love Bleach. I love the characters. I think Bleach really shines in its fights. It's always had incredible fights to me. But like when he tries to do like interpersonal character moments, I forgot how like not great they were. At least that was my first take on it.
Yeah,
well, Red,
yeah,
I've just got something to say to that. If you want the complete opposite reaction
are you gonna sell me on Mission Yozakura again?
No. This has nothing to do with Mission Yozakura. This has nothing. It's completely all Bleach related. If you want to have the absolute complete opposite take of that, go and look at a Twitter user and a YouTube user.
It's the Twitter user that you guys are nonstop harassing.
Yes,
bro. I don't know any of the context, but like you guys are hardcore, bro. Like zero chill at all.
Because she has zero chill at all. Like
when it comes to
any
creators, that's right.
I'm just staying out of it, bro. Like I see you guys. Trust me. I want you to know, Luke. I see that shit. I see you guys. I see every single one. I want nothing to do with it.
Fair enough.
No. Hey, you guys have your fun. That's Twitter. It's a beautiful place. If you want to harass away. I assume she's deserved it. I don't know anything about her, but like
she has this when she's complaining about a boob joke not being in the episode. I think we can bring it up right.
Wait, give me context. Which boob joke was she?
It was the joke that Ryunosuke made to Shinon in
the flat one.
Flat one that got caught. And she was like, why is that being caught? Was comedy or all of this?
They're obviously going to cut a lot of shit because like they're trying to, what is it, like 50 something episodes this is going to be?
Yeah,
a lot of shit's going to get cut, a lot.
Apparently there was not enough blood in the episode. And I was just like, really? And I literally
I saw your arguments with her about like the lighting and Chainsaw Man or something. I can't be bothered with the
and I was like, really? That scene where Ichigo slashed the hollow, that there was not enough blood when there was none virtually in the manga in that scene, and I actually put
he kind of just cut him like completely in half. Like I was actually reading the manga like side by side while I was watching it. It's, I don't know, man. Like there's so many people in the world. There's always gonna be someone with like, you could find an opinion that you think is like impossible to have. Like someone I'm trying to think of an example. Like, someone could be like, I hate sunlight. No, that's even pretty. What's it like an unhavable opinion?
The Earth is square.
No, I've got what I've got what.
Damn globe tards and flat tards,
bro. That one.
Oh yeah, the Earth is flat.
Everyone needs to pause right now. That was fucking funny. That was genuinely. I've never heard that. But you hear flat Earth a lot. I've got square Earth model, bro.
I've got one because I've seen it recently. Everyone in Australia are actors, and Australia doesn't exist. And to that I say, so where's the Oscar for my aunt? Where's the Oscar for my uncle? Where's the Oscar for my cousins? Because they've been playing it really.
Oscar-worthy actor, I'm sorry to say, but like I could see that being a genuine opinion because almost everything on the fucking planet is either filmed in New Zealand or Australia.
That's funny. Yeah, Australia exists to be a film studio. That's funny. But either way, point being, who cares? Like, if I know, fun, that's fine. But like, fucking random Twitter users, man. Like, yeah. I used to be the guy that would argue with Twitter people. I don't have the energy for it anymore. I'll argue with a motherfucker in real life. Don't get me wrong.
Arguing with some idiot on Twitter. It's just
if that's what.
Time while I pass,
pass the gas for sure. But anyway, a couple more thoughts I had on Bleach. So yeah, no, and again, not to say that it's a bad series, because like to me, the strength of Bleach has always been the captains, the Soul Reapers, that whole side of things. Ichigo's fucking boring ass human friends have always been boring, and everyone knows it. Okay, Uryu is the only good one, and I'll be honest, an addition that was not in the manga that I appreciated was Uryu fucking like skating on the race.
Yes,
him like fucking absolutely busting it down.
And also, we actually got to see the fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, that was cool as fuck. Yeah, I mean, I will say, this is where we have to talk, okay?
You're going to talk about Chad, aren't you? You're going to talk about the meme. Okay, so Fex, to give you context, in the episode we see the fight with the Hollows that was skipped in the manga, and it shows Chad just punching the Hollows into a building. And
allow me to add on to this. I really want to set the stage here, okay?
Okay.
Vex, in the manga, it's 3 Hollows. Okay, there's 3 Hollows, and they like one-shot them, and it's over, okay? In the anime, because, it's like the first episode back, they gotta have this huge fucking fight scene. In the anime, it's like fucking 50 Hollows, and Chad punches one straight into like an apartment building with the lights on. Like, there are lights on, like specifically, like people were in this building, and he punches it into the building and it fucking explodes. I cannot believe they did. Like, Chad literally killed people. I couldn't fucking. What?
I mean, if anybody in that manga would be the type of.
I know. I think that's a mischaracterization of Chad. See that you saying that is proof you need to reread Bleach, because his whole deal was like, I'm a big guy and people are scared about me, but I want it. But he's like he's like a gentle giant.
Right.
So like, to me, that was the anime being a little bit too rambunctious and like we want to do a bunch of huge explosions, because the other cardinal sin they did. And this used to be a problem in the Bleach filler. I remember there was a Bleach filler where Ichigo did this back in like episode 180 or something of like the original anime. I hate it. Literally, this is one of my big pet peeves, okay? You guys can complain about Twitter users all you want. This is the shit I'm going to fucking complain about. I fucking hate when Ichigo goes Bankai for a fucking scrub hollow. I hate that shit so goddamn much. It's so stupid.
You love that. You know it. You loved it when Ichigo went Bankai, and he was just
I didn't. You're right. Literally, listen, when he went Bankai against fucking, I don't remember his stupid name, because when I first read it on Manga Stream, his name was Ivan. So that's what I always remembered his name as, but now it's like S-Burn or something. When he went Bankai against that makes sense, because he's like an unknown. He's an Arrancar, he's a Quincy. This motherfucker's kind of weird.
That's his name, Eburn.
Yeah, Bankai that motherfucker. That's fair. That's fine. And then, because here's the thing, the argument might be, oh, well, it's the first episode, we gotta have Ichigo go Bankai to get the hype up, right? Then have him do it against S-Burn. Why do you gotta do it against the fucking Hollow? To me, that's like, no different than if Naruto did like a Biju Bomb against like Konohamaru. You know what I mean?
Please do. Fuck Konohamaru. He's a snot-nosed little prick.
Should I have
going like full fucking Nine Tails in like a filler episode where they're like peeving on girls and then like, how dare you steal her panties? Those are mine.
Fex. Should I mentally prepare myself for that moment in Naruto?
I mean, if it's gonna happen anywhere, it'll be Boruto probably.
Yeah, like the fucking Konohamaru by the end of Naruto was like what 10?
No, I think there's a time skip when he's older. I think he becomes like a Jonin or something.
Oh yeah, if we count the like.
But before the time skip, I'm not too sure.
He was like a fucking rookie ninja for like the majority of the series.
But again, just to come back. Oh, sorry. Did you want to finish what you're saying?
No, like, I kind of see where you're going there, Red. But I think that out of everybody that has the least amount of care for collateral damage would be Chad if there's an immediate threat. He would want to eliminate the threat and protect the vast majority versus like, oh, I can.
I think I'd put that on Ichigo or Uryu, to be honest with you, because Ichigo's always been like a very not. He's like always been characterized as like a not accurate kind of fighter. I'm trying to think of the word.
Just literally goes gung ho, but I mean like. I think Chad's the type of person that, like, I need to stop this now before it becomes even worse. You know.
Again, you need to go watch the episode. This was absurd. Okay, like
Okay. Okay, I'll watch the episode.
I'll give you I'll take what you're saying. You have no idea, bro. The building he punched this and Luke, back me up on this. The building he punched him into was like a mile away. Like he punches this hollow and
that's excessive as fuck.
Yeah, and it wasn't. Let me actually go and get up the scene because I don't think it was just one hollow because Orihime did do with her.
Santenkeshu and I reject, but the hollow didn't knock into anything. The other, so like there was Chad who fucked up that building, and then Ichigo, when he went Bankai, there was an explosion the size of like a small fucking nuke on top of a building. And I'm sitting here like, okay, what are the citizens?
Okay. No, I'm on the scene right now. Yeah, it's three hollows. It's three hollows that Chad punches into that building.
Oh, so they're like stacked up on top of each other?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, you guys win. That's excessive as fuck.
And he does it with his like the left arm. Remember the one that like makes a skull pattern when it so remember like you remember that part Vex where like it makes a skull pattern when he punches it against the wall?
Yeah.
So he does it so that it makes a sick ass skull pattern on the building. But again, I think the most telling part is that there are lights on. Like in these windows. Like people were living in there and like they can't sense or see Soul Reapers or Hollows. So to them, there's just like, what the fuck is happening? There's explosions happening everywhere.
Oh god.
Oh, the morals are very questionable. Like, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Chad killed people there. Like, it's crazy that you didn't think about that.
Oh,
Unless you could do the Power Rangers argument and like it's the abandoned room in the building.
Right, which you could have done that argument if the lights weren't on. That's why I keep mentioning that the fucking
that somebody was cleaning it and they forgot to turn the light off. He's all right. He's not a killer.
All right. But anyway, I don't want to end on just like negatives because like that makes it sound like I hated it. It's more like as time's gone on, I've like developed my taste so much that like I Bleach is like kind of regressing back to like what I liked when I was in like middle school, high school, right? So I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah, this is a fun bit of nostalgia, but like it definitely wouldn't keep my attention these days. I'm going to definitely watch for like certain bits. Like my ass is ready for that Yamamoto Bankai fight.
I
just want the scene where Yororichi's jiggling ass is animated.
That's gonna be towards the end. That's gonna be like 2 years from now. Right?
That's the one I does not jiggle like that scene in the Boondocks. I don't want it.
Yeah, I want none of it.
The one scene I am waiting for. You say Yamamoto going Bankai, Red. The one Bankai that I am waiting to see animated is Shunsui's Bankai when he activates it.
Oh yeah,
because it's got all those shadows coming out. Like I could just picture it now, like the shadows just coming out of his sword.
There was a lot of cool moments in that fight. I'm looking forward to that. What else? I was hoping that they would extend certain moments that like he had to rush towards the end, but now with like the limited episodes, I wonder because like I was hoping to see like somehow I wanted them to incorporate Shinji's Bankai from the novels somehow, and I don't know if they will.
I've heard 50, but I've heard like maybe 60 or something like that, like an extension or.
Well, I remember there was like an interview with Kubo where he said like hypothetically there are talks about maybe like adapting the novels at some point. So like maybe if this is like goes well and is like successful or something.
Well, it's been doing insanely well from what I've seen. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I know this is not the right way to talk about it, but literally, first episode on my anime list made a 9.26.
That's stupid. Oh my god! Another saga of something beating fucking Fullmetal Alchemist and everyone having a fucking mental breakdown. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like we joke, but let's just be real. The fucking Fullmetal Alchemist fans just will downvote that shit to hell, no matter what.
Well, you know, I understand where they're coming from because it is like, I mean, let's be honest, Fullmetal Alchemist is objectively better than Bleach, and like it's objectively better than.
Yes, but it's fucking absurd that they can't let it be known that we have progressed past the time that we need to gatekeep the goddamn My Anime List top 10.
Right, you say that, but then you go and harass a random Twitter user for months on end, right? Like everyone has their different internet fun. Maybe that's just their internet.
Fair enough. That's why I'm trying to cut back on it now.
I hate gatekeeping in general because there are thousands of anime better than Fullmetal Alchemist.
I don't know about thousands.
There are.
I'll give you at least 10. All right.
Monster's better than Fullmetal Alchemist. Period.
Kogia Fullmetal Alchemist.
Nope.
Yep.
Yep. You're outvoted, Red.
Okay.
Monster is.
So if I go get Allie, we'll be fucking even. Because I know where she stands on this one.
Dora Hidoro is better than Fullmetal Alchemist.
Oh well. Yeah. I mean, that was side tangent. My take on Dorohedoro is that it's got a lot of really clever, good ideas, but it's messy as fuck in execution.
It is. It very much.
Yeah, like it's very hard to follow. The plot is like all the fuck over the place and like very clever stuff.
It's a Netflix adaptation in a nutshell.
Yeah.
No, I've read the manga. I'm not even talking about the anime. I've read the manga.
Okay, yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm looking at the whole thing. Allie owns all of it in print. Like I'm looking at it right now.
I know one anime you'd probably put better than Fullmetal Alchemist, Red.
I'll give you two: One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. And...
I was thinking Hunter x Hunter, which, by the way, next week it's back.
Mr. Luck Devil said at Red, call Vex something bad for me, please. Fuck. I could say the F word, right? I'm gay.
I think YouTube would not allow that, but I knew that was the one you're gonna call me.
What can I say that won't get us?
Red, say the fucking slur.
I thought about something. Vex is the ultimate Record of Ragnarok anime lover.
Oh, no.
This is YouTube, not Twitch, so fucking cracker. There we go.
There we go. Red got a slur in. Yeah.
Now you gotta go. Now you have to edit that out. What's the timestamp? You have to edit that out.
22:20.
Write that shit down. Now you know my pain. Do you remember all that shit? Remember in the early days when you would be like, Red, I need you to, you'd message me like 5 minutes after we record, like, Red, I actually wasn't comfortable with it.
I'll find a way to bleep that one. God damn it.
I'm sorry. It was for the bit.
God damn it. You're making me edit. Of all people, I'm the one out there trying to hire editors and fucking...
Listen, just a real quick little, like, and you can make like a funny little thing. You know the exact timestamp. It's an opportunity to do like a fun little edit. That won't take you more than 5 minutes.
It won't. I
appreciate it. Please don't forget though. I don't want to get
down here right next to my case number for my broken arm.
And just in case he does forget, I'm bisexual, boys. So you got nothing on me. You can't cancel me for that. Yeah.
The more you harp on it, the more tempting it is to leave it in.
Please don't. I have dirt on you, Vex. I have hard drives of dirt on you, Vex.
There's a fucking folder in our Google Drive just of like blackmail for all of us.
Bro, that's wild. Was there something else that I wanted to say? Oh yeah. Either way, the strength of Bleach is going to be when we get into all these fucking back-to-back fights, because obviously just the strength of this episode was the fights, right? Like that little extended scene of Ichigo fighting Esbern, is that what it is?
Eburn.
Dude, it's so weird. Do you remember
after being using scanlations for so long, you know?
Yeah, do you remember the fucking manga stream days, Luke?
Yes, I remember the manga stream
remember
days.
His fucking name was Ivan? You remember his name was Ivan in manga stream?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember Kenpachi when he was fighting Gremmy, and it was like,
oh, that's my favorite,
and it was like, this makes me so hard right now, no Zarashi.
No, my favorite. Okay, now this is a direct quote. All right, no one can cancel me for what I'm about to say. I'm about to directly quote a manga stream translation of Kenpachi from like 2015. Okay,
like 50 times.
We've talked about this a bunch. You can search this. Okay, there was a manga stream translation where they're talking about like, does Kenpachi want to come, or does this really like his whole thing? And he comes in and he's like, listen, as long as I can rape anything in my path, I'll have a big fucking smile on my face. And that was back towards like where people would like be like rape face, but they wouldn't actually mean like they're about to rape, but like someone like an anime character could like go through and like shred motherfuckers, like, oh god, he raped them, right? It was a weird time on the internet where like, oh, did you like own someone in a video game? Raped them, right? Like it's strange times on the internet, but like, yeah, manga stream went hard, bro, in like a weird direction.
Yeah. And that wasn't the only manga they did that kind of shit with. It was that group that translated it in particular.
Oh yeah,
really bad.
The other one that I will always remember is one of the I think it was Korinji, one of the Squad Zero dudes, and he was like, I can see why that Ichigo is really interesting. I can see why the Soul King's swinging off his sack.
Yeah, it was probably Korinji that
the
did
one with
that.
the fucking pointy ass
hair. Yeah.
They did that with that. I believe that's the same group that did the One Punch Man translations back in the day too.
Maybe manga stream was wild, and the funny part is that's the best we fucking had back then. That we were really roughing it back then. That was the best.
At my high school, they blocked manga stream. Hello, Dead Space pre-purchase alert from the Epic Game Store. Manga stream was blocked at my high school, so I had to use Manga fucking Panda. Remember that one?
Yep, Manga Panda was like the shitty one. Like that, it was terrible. They would like mess up genders sometimes. Like a character that was like obviously a man, they'd be like her, and like it was Manga Panda was when you're really rough.
But that's how I had to rough it back in the day.
Dude, I know, it's wild how our standards used to be. And like the funny part is we're talking about like this character Ivan, right? It's wild how long this has existed, because I remember when the chapter came out where that motherfucker's standing on Ichigo's bed and he's like, "Get off my bed," and my name's Ivan, right? I was in high school. I read that chapter in the computer lab of my high school, and I was sitting next to a kid named Ivan. It was a classmate. Don't do not dox him.
That is like the whitest name possible. There's literally
he is the whitest kid possible. So it's yeah, that's a very white man. Anyway, I call him a kid because like I remember him as a kid, but he's probably like 28, just like me. It's fucking wild. Anyway, but I remember it like very vividly. Like
heroin overdose. Who knows?
You know, if anyone would from but
really toxic. Do not make me edit more, you cunt.
Yeah, you might want to. Can you write down the timestamp again? just bleep out his last name when I say Ivan. You know, bleep out
the bleep that in the fucking school. You just fucking.
Yeah. Thank you. But leave out everything else. Just bleep the name and like the school, but not like everything, because this is funny. just the bare minimum, please. Good thinking. Actually,
literally a 35-second looping bleep because of Thurman's fucking mouth in a Fortnite stream.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I mean, luckily, like 30 people max will watch this, so like I'm not super worried, but still, it's probably a good idea. What was I gonna say? What was it?
Red.
Anyway, but yeah, I have a very good, vivid memory of reading that shit like literally 10 years ago. It's fucking wild.
I do agree with you though. Like my standards has changed so much since Bleach first came out, because I just today refinished before this call. I just refinished the Soul Society arc, and I'm just seeing the like flaws in even that now as I've progressed. And the funny thing is, I read objectively shit series on Twitch until I archive Twitch.
it's that our standards change in terms of like not like because like there's no like objective quality marker. It's more like what do you look for, right? Like back in the day, for me, it was like when I was a middle schooler, it was like I just want action, no matter what. Give me action, give me superpowers. But now my priority is characters, right? And the thing with Bleach is sometimes it has good characters and sometimes it doesn't, and it really is a coin flip. But like the thing with like the shitty slice of life, like you get like something like Komi or I don't know. Hanako is a good example.
Ruri Dragon.
Yeah. Like we really enjoy those because like it's character focused, and like I think as we get older, like because I basically my standards have flopped. Like before, I wanted it fight focused, but I wanted like characters that I liked. Now it's like mainly I want characters I liked, but I like it when there's also fighting. Like Fire Force hit the perfect balance for me, where like fighting is a big part of that series, but like the characters were also fucking lovable, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to in Bleach is when we get to the Soul Society, because like I said, the strength of that first episode, and I can tell that this is one of those anime that I can tell like when they're just standing around talking, the budget is not going to scenes like that because they're very stiff and cardboardy when they're just standing around talking. But when the fights hit, that's where they're putting the budget because the fights looked good.
Period in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I mean, fuck it. If you got to fucking skimp somewhere, make it when they're just walking. You know, that's fine. So, like, these fights, I think, are going to slap. So when we get to these scenes where it's, like, fight after fight after fight, like those moments, which is, like, most of a Kubo arc, when we get to that shit, I mean, that's gonna be where the good shit. Because Kubo's always been very good at, I think, relatively creative fights. So I'm looking forward to that.
So I think the next one that we can really talk about, since we've kind of talked about Bleach, is Chainsaw Man. And I talked a little bit about this with you, Red.
You at least watched that one, right?
Oh yeah, I talked a little bit about this with you and the Chainsaw Man review.
Dude,
my main
phenomenal
complaint is the fucking motion blur.
I barely even notice it.
I barely noticed it myself as well.
I think it's because I play games on like a
because he's a gamer.
I'm a gamer, and I didn't barely notice it, so that argument is invalid.
I notice shit like that really bad because I play a lot of RPGs, but you do too, Luke. So it could just be for a different thing for everybody. But
we can just gaslight Vex, and I'm just gonna gaslight Vex and say that it's just him and he's crazy.
I don't need to be gaslit anymore this week. I've had a week full of 12-hour shifts. Come on now.
Oh, boof. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. I mean, like, I really had no complaints about it. I think the opening was the most exciting part for me, I'll be honest. Because, episode one's like just the setup, not even like as Chainsaw Man goes, it's like not even close to as crazy as it's gonna get. Right?
My question is, they've said 12 episodes, but the first episode was just chapter 1. So how are they gonna incorporate the other 96 into 11 episodes?
It's not 12 doing the whole season. It's coming out in multiple cores, just like
right.
So it's gonna be like similar to Bleach. I think it's gonna be like somewhere between 30 and 40 episodes, but it's gonna after 12, it's gonna take a couple month break, kind of like what they do with My Hero, where there's seasons, right? Yeah. That would be insane if they tried to fit the entire series into 12 episodes.
I was gonna say, because when that came out, because I thought they were just doing it all in one go.
Yeah, no, it's just that basically like they confirmed that they're going to do the whole thing. Basically, when it comes out in cores stands for a quarter of the year, right? So like the break is going to be like really short, as far as I understand. It'll come out in like 12, like your 12 episodes will come out, and then it might be like a month, 2-month break, and then the next chunk of 12 will come out. And, like, it'll keep,
Oh yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I think this will get to the Katana Man arc. The next core will do the Bomb Devil arc. And then we'll have
and then the next core will be probably the assassin part, where like you get Quan, and then the final core, and then the final 12 will be the crazy Makima shit.
Yeah, I feel like the final core will start off with a bang, quite literally, because it will start off with I
know exactly what you'll start off with. The final core will start off with the beach part. I don't know if you remember.
Oh no.
Good.
I don't think it will start. I think it will start off with Makima and Denji in that scene, and as Tyler Pancake puts it, Denji buddy, when Makima breaks down Denji.
Oh yeah, no, I will never forget the beach part is like where the whole series felt different after that beach scene. Like that was the turning point of that story. Like in that beach scene where it's like, make a contract with me, bitch. Anyway, but yeah, and also it's pretty obvious, at least to me, that like they just wanted to slow down episode 1 to kind of like ease people into it, right? I'm pretty sure that the next couple episodes will speed along the pacing. I think episode 1 they added some more scenes to make it kind of feel a little bit like more of an easing into it. But I think episode 2 is going to cover at least 2 or 3 chapters. It's not going to be like episode 1 where they just did 1. I think. Yeah.
Oh no, for sure, and because I feel because episode 2 it has to introduce like power and anarchy into the series.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, which is let me actually remember when they pop in.
I'm actually
I got my volume right here. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was reading through chapter 2 a bit. That's where they go to that like food stand and he meets like a random like little girl in the woods that's like taken over by a devil.
Chapter 3 Arky's introduced, and then I think chapter 4 it's power.
I'm checking. Hold on. I think it'll get to Aki being introduced. Oh shit, boys! The next episode's gonna be where they're kicking each other in the balls.
I think Vex had to go somewhere quickly.
I'm right back.
All right, hold on a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then so you know what? I think the next episode is going to end off with the ball kicking. I think it's going to be the scene in the forest, and then they're going to introduce to Aki. Oh, that's going to be good.
Oh yeah.
And then because the power introduction is actually quite a bit of an arc. It's not just one episode. Like they have that whole arc with the Bat Devil and shit. So yeah. So I think the next episode will cover the Aki stuff.
Yeah, we'll get the Aki stuff, and then we'll get the start of the.
Oh, Vex, you might have been gone, but the next episode's gonna have the fucking part where Denji's kicking the shit out of Aki's balls. So that's exciting.
God, that'll be just top tier.
That was actually I remember when you told me to read it, and there was like 10 or 15 chapters out, and that was the moment where I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this because he's like, when I fight a guy, I only kick the nuts.
It's such a.
I can't wait to see that.
As a biological male, there is nothing.
Tragic.
Nothing more painful than getting kicked in the balls.
Take your pick. Do you want your nuts up inside you and have to go through a period once a month, or do you want them vulnerable and outside of you and able to be kicked?
As South Park cleverly put it, you've got to protect your balls.
True. All right, boys. I'm going to head out because my phone's about to die, but this was fun. Enjoy the rest of the modcast. Thanks for having me on. Do you have any final questions for Red before my phone dies?
No.
No.
Let's fuck up.
You have already caused me enough pain today, Red.
Yeah, but it's quality content when I pop on. You gotta admit.
I know. Oh, I fucking hate editing. This is a call to any of our viewers, all probably 30 of you, like Red said. If you are looking for a part-time job between any of the 3 channels,
are you gonna pay them, or is this like volunteer work?
I am actually going to pay them per video that I want edited.
Fuck, dude, if you pay me, I'll edit for you. How much you paying?
It would depend on what needs to be done to the video.
That's fair.
You know this as an editor.
I'll do. Let me think. Okay, I mean, fuck. Like, if you ever have a job, like pass it by me. If it's something I can do, and I'll hear you out if the price is right.
Red's over here extorting me for like thousands of dollars per video.
Thousands, my ass. I would just want hourly pay. Like, pay me like $15 for like an hour of editing. I'm fine with that.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's a fair wage for editing. As somebody that has had to begrudgingly edit, like that is not bad. But
well, anyway, I'll head out. Enjoy your shit, boys.
Yep. Thanks for popping.
Peace out. Yeah, dude.
But yeah, like that is something that I'm very much, looking for the 3 channels right now: the Chaos Square, this channel, and then the stream channel. Because I realize as time goes on, like I don't have time to edit a lot of the shit. I've scrapped a fuck ton of content that has just become outdated because I haven't had time to edit it. And it's something that I don't like doing, but I'm like, this was more time sensitive. I should have focused on this more. So if I had, somebody that would pop in, to do something like that would be a great asset. And that's why I'm like, during the new year, I want to kind of refocus on putting out more quality content, like we talked in the future podcast. And that was something that came to my mind while I was taking my 45-minute shit on my job's dime because I didn't want to.
Yeah, and I can see why you'd want to lighten the workload.
Yeah, well, running 3 channels is a nightmare. Thankfully, Red runs Chaos Squared mostly self-sufficiently, and there's not a lot of editing that needs to be done there. But like for a stream channel specifically, like highlight reels, stuff like that, that is something that would need more editing. And then there's this where I would like to bring stuff like the Chaos Battles back, and but I realize Red doesn't have time to do every edit that would be needed, so that would be where we would have to like hire somebody to do something like that, or the know my things better to put up like graphics and potentially like subtitles, whatever fancies us at the time. I'm not going to say it to be what he said per hour, or more or less, or I don't know yet what the actual wage would be for something like that. That's something I'd have to mull over as I save money up, because I run this pretty much without any ad revenue on anything other than the podcasts and a few other select videos, mainly the Chainsaw Man videos, the original ones. So it's not like this channel brings in revenue. It would be out of my own pocket from my own 9 to 5, which I also need to, pay rent, utilities, shit like that. It was, and then as time would go on, that would increase as the channels make more revenue. And then production, like I put in that, is I would very much like to have somebody write scripts for other types of videos and give a try at more scripted content, mainly like talking about specific series or specific arcs in series that we would go through, and then that would lead to less tangential videos, just to see how that would play with audience retention, because I want to play with the analytics of it. And I feel like if we would script out, thoughts for something like, here's the first 10 episodes of blah, blah, blah anime, that would be a great, place to test something like that with. Like, our thoughts on the first 10 episodes of Spy Family, or whatever. Obviously, we're not going to be revisiting the series because we know it's, something we've fallen off of as creators, I'm using it as a popular,
Yeah, I really don't want to touch Spy Family.
On Yuri versus Kichiro.
I was going to say my thoughts on Yuri versus Kiricho. Kiricho, yes, starts off creepy in Mission Yosakura Family. People obviously hated him at the beginning.
I still hate him as a character.
Some more than others, but at least he develops as a character.
He does. Unlike Yuri, like I still like bi-weekly read Spy Family against my own, wise words to myself. I still read that bi-weekly, and I still fucking want Yuri to die horribly and painfully. I don't feel the same about Kichiro anymore, but I still think he's a fucking creep. But, better.
Yeah. And like I said, when a character can make even the creep character go, dude, you are sick. You know you've done something right. But yeah, I just can't get after the boat arc in Spy Family. I was like, I'm done.
Yep. Here's the thing, like with Kichiro, I feel like he has progressed enough to where I don't feel he's on the level of fuckery that even Yuri is still on today, but I still think he has a lot of room to grow for me to ever like him as a character too. But using this for that example, like, you see how we could go on like 3 or 4 different tangents, but if we had a script, in front of us, that'd be something we could read and, talk about these talking points, and then we could bounce between bits and pieces of it. And that would be a great way to do what I wanted to do and incorporate more of the community in it, to test them to see how they would perform on camera. And that's a big other reason why I want to do that, because I could hand these scripts to them. Like, I hate using these type of channels, Luke, and you know the channels I'm talking about, but they're channels like Wicked Binge and Watch Mojo, where they just have like 7,000 fucking people.
Oh yeah, and you just have one person who oversees them, and then one person narrating who clearly has no idea what they're talking about.
But I feel like that's a great way to check for 3 things: cadence, presentability, and their ability to remain on task. Because there is something that is very much needed for this field, and that is the ability to remain on task while also being entertaining. If you can't do that, then there's no way that you could fit into where like we go on like 7,000 different tangents, because you need that ability to pop off of the script when you need to. And there's obviously a disconnect between the script and the person there, where you can fill in to be entertaining. And that's where I find that there's a, because I've been doing that on the side for other channels, and it's, you'll notice my voice probably 6-7 months down the line, because most of these channels have pipelines of content that have literally a backlog worse than my hard drive is full of games right now. But I picked up a couple scripts from one of these channels, and I realized like that's a very, very much needed skill. And then the people that are in charge of those were like, yeah, that's something that we never thought of, is going off the script to be entertaining there. But when you go back and watch their videos, you realize that you can tell when somebody breaks from the script and then goes back to a script. Especially as an actor. You know when they improv, basically. And improv is a very much a necessary part of content creation. If you can't improv, then there's no point in being in the field. And that's 97% of what we do on a daily basis. But I find that being a better way to gauge, to make sure I'm not uploading a video that I didn't vet fully, that has like 17 uses of the N-word in it.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you put those out there, in those feelers out there, what those type of people will do. And I have a feeling that whoever moderates those types of channels, that needs like daily therapy, because they just receive like either the shittiest takes possible and they have to scrap it, or they end up have to go through and edit a hell of a lot. But yeah, like that's kind of where my mindset was at with that, and that would give me an ability to bring more people up from the community and to like do these littler videos. And I feel like those would be like more YouTube Shorts content than they would be, this kind of content. Give them like a 5-minute script, and then they're like, hey, here, talk about this character over here and their top 10 moments or whatever. I'm not turning the channel into fucking Watch Mojo. I'm just using these as examples.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think I think one Watch Mojo. Well, they've branched out a lot now, but
got Mojo Horror, Mojo Music, Mojo Girls,
Mojo Gaming.
God.
But I think one style of Watch Mojo is enough.
But that type of content was popping off for the longest time, and I see why they did what they did to maintain their business. I can't hate them for that. I can't hate them for flooding the fucking inbox every day. I have a guilty pleasure of watching their anime videos, because I just go through and like, that is objectively a shit take.
Yeah. Like, what would you say is like the shittiest take ever?
Ashley from Watch Mojo, I'm so sorry, but because he does like 97% of their anime videos. But the fucking ranking of the top battles was the most egregious thing to me, because it was 95% Dragon Ball and 7 Deadly Sins.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Let me actually guess what number one was. Goku versus Frieza.
I believe it was.
Oh.
It was like 3 years ago this video was uploaded. You can go find it, but I believe it was Goku versus Frieza, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, nostalgia be bad.
Yeah. I think my worst take of theirs is nothing to do with their top 10s or anything like that. It's to do with when they tried to review the Avengers Endgame trailer.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, and they were calling, and they were looking at the ship in the trailer and saying like, "Oh, this must be a Titan ship," even though it has Tony Stark in it. It's like, you do realize Tony Stark was with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm. It's so stupid. Like, their theory videos were dumb as shit. But yeah, like that's why I put out that tweet, just to kind of clarify, the thought process behind that. Jesus, my brain's dead. I have been up for an hour and 20 minutes, and my brain is already in shutdown mode. If you have any idea of how burnout I am, that's that. But no, like I think my chapter of the week though, just to transition to the chapters, I think it still has to go to Sakamoto Days.
Okay.
I liked the Black Clover chapter. I liked Yo's fam, but Sakamoto Days has just been hitting different lately, and I think it's just because I talked about it. I don't know if I put it on both. Well, I did kind of tweet it because I replied to Ann Arbor's comment. I've been watching or more listening to a lot of true crime podcasts lately because my best friend got me into one because she sent me one to the John Wayne Gacy murders while I was working at my old job because it was so fucking slow. I'm like, I need something to do so I don't fall asleep here. And then I just kind of went through the whole backlog for this podcast. The Casual Criminalist, I'm just shouting out a much more successful podcast here. But no, like I've always had a fascination with true crime since I was a kid. So assassins naturally have always been a soft spot for me. That's why I like Golgo 13 and a lot of other series like that. But Sakamoto Days has just been really, really cool. From the get, I wish Red would have stuck with it to where we can make more content out of it, but he just never did. But this arc has been insane. Like, I don't know where I would rank this in terms of like top arcs, but it has potential to be at least in the top 30, 40 of my arcs right now. Because it's just been so fucking fascinating to read week to week. Ever since I caught back up with it during that one stream, like, I have fallen back in love with the series. And the sensei rising from the dead to protect her student moment was just, chef's kiss.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the chapter now, just skimming through it. And can I just ask one question? Did someone literally throw a shard of glass, hit it through a camera, and take it out someone's eye?
Yes.
That okay? Gotta hand it to that. That is pretty cool.
Right? Like, the way the author... Oh, these are going to be so uncomfortable to wear for cosplay. The way this author writes is just magnificent because it is things you would see in that kind of field. As I put on my shoes for a cosplay of Archer here, just to kind of break them in. Oh, these are so fucking stiff. Oh, I hate these already. Cosplay is pain.
Hence why I don't do it.
God, like fresh leather, I love it and I hate it. And I've always, my entire life, hated Oxford shoes. Because, well, I hate dress clothes in general. I think I've established that plenty on this channel. Like, my most comfortable is a fucking baggy hoodie and a pair of lounge pants. I would wear that every day if I could. But I've always loved the show Archer, going back to, like, Assassins and True Crime. And this is the final season of Archer. So, and that's a character that I've always... It's a character you're not supposed to love, kind of like Rick, but you always love because he's such a lovable prick.
Okay.
So, I was just for the final season going to cosplay Archer. And he always wears an Oxford shoe like James Bond. Ever since goddamn high school, I've hated these shoes because I had to fucking wear them. And I think that's why I hate them. Because I had to fucking wear them. Every time I was in a goddamn play and drama class, I know, weird tangent, but brand new Oxfords versus like 17 other students as worthies for various roles in a play suck ass. Because leather, unless you treat it, I say this having been a biker for a while, is very stiff and rigid.
Yep.
So yeah. So now I'm just trying these on to make sure they fit so I can, return them if need be. And they fit, sort of. And just, they're very uncomfortable. And this is something that Sakamoto would not wear. He would just be wearing, like, a casual fucking apron from the store or some disguise where he's a fucking female teacher. But yeah, the choreography is what got me for this chapter, you know? Because it's an insane fight to think about. Because this guy's weapon is technically a film camera. You know, he's using it as his way to see through the crime and film the perfect movie. He's not really interested in either side winning as long as he can film a good movie, which is such a unique concept, you know?
So he's taking inspiration from Fire Punch then?
Kinda, yeah. And that's why I like that character in Fire Punch. Like, nobody gave a fuck who won in that arc as long as they could capture and make a good movie, because films had kind of ceased to exist in a post-apocalyptic world. Shocker, right? But yeah, like, I love that. But as for the the other chapters, like Black Clover, I still am struggling to read it week to week. And I think this is the point where I'm going to do what Thurman's doing with other chapters and kind of like let it build up a bit.
Yeah.
Because
honestly, with Thurman, I'm kind of surprised it's taken him this long to do it with Yo's fan, because he's been like that. He's been like that with Yo's fan for quite some time.
Thurman's been going through a lot. I can say, as somebody that left the group chat, because I'm sure he's talked about it elsewhere. Like, I just fucking left the group chat, the Facebook group chat, because I didn't want to deal with the drama anymore, you know? Because I'm like, okay, I know everybody's going through their own thing, Andrew. The wedding, the transition to me moving out, everything. I'm just going to leave. Because I genuinely, as much as I stir drama on social media, I don't like drama. You know, I like to shitpost. I don't like actual drama. I kind of shut in. And that's been my response since I was a teenager. And something I've desperately worked on for years. But when it gets too much, I just shut down. And I'm like, I don't want to cause any more strife before Andrew's wedding. So I'm going to leave this group chat to avoid doing that. And that was 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that at this point. And I just haven't opted to rejoin that group chat because I have 17 other ways they can communicate with me, you know? But, like, he's been going through a lot since he's came out to Michigan. And I totally understand, like, why things are taking their time and why, like, he hasn't been in content recently and everything. Like, even when he was in content, and this is why I've been poking fun at him. Like, even when he was in content, he wasn't in content because his mind wasn't there. And when your mind isn't there for content, then there's no point in creating content. That's why I do what he's doing right now and taking breaks. Because once you burn out, like, it's not entertaining to you. You are literally doing it as a job. And then once you hit that breaking point, that's why I think YouTube's algorithm, Twitch's algorithm, TikTok's algorithm, no matter what platform you perform on, because you are literally a puppet for these companies.
Yeah.
No matter what platform you perform on, it is a toll on your mental health. And people that have not done this consecutively for years on end do not understand exactly how these platforms play into that. And somebody that already has mental health issues like myself or Thurman and Red, you know, they reach a certain point where they just don't find enjoyment in it. And that transforms from hobbies to content creation to whatever. And when you reach that breaking point, you're like, well, I'm done with this thing. And that's why I kind of take my yearly hiatus, because I don't want to ever really be fully done with content creation. But I do yearly reach that point of like, okay, I know it's coming. I need to take a step back. And that's why I urge both Red and Thurman to do that, because I know that they're the same way. But with the last couple videos I filmed with him, like, I could see his heart wasn't in it. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'd rather do this kind of stuff, like the modcast, for a while you kind of take your time away from the screen, and take your time away from social media and everything. But, like, I think he just needs to take a break from all of his hobbies in general and just kind of focus on himself. Not just take a break from one series or another series, and just focus on himself and actually sit down and go to a good therapist, because he's very much and I've tried for weeks and weeks and weeks to get through to him before that moment where I left that group chat to go and get that kind of help. And I shouldn't be airing this out. I might actually cut this out of the video, I might not. But that's something that I very much believe in, is going and getting that kind of help. And I desperately think he needs to do that with all the stress he's been under, but he doesn't see that. But yeah, like taking a break from Yo's fam is one thing. I'm writing down the timestamp.
All right.
But yeah, like taking a break from Yo's fam is one thing, and then taking a break from like content creation is another. But I think the other one that I see him taking a massive break from in the future is JJK, the way he's been talking about it recently, and that's one that I haven't even touched in a good while too, because it's just a struggle to read week to week. Like,
okay,
like I see what's happening, and I'm like, I just don't care. Like, that author I love and hate at the same time, because they can make some of the most interesting powers, but the fucking story can be a slog. And it's the same way I felt about late game Bleach,
fair enough.
Well, what would your chapter of the week be? I'm guessing it's Yo's fam, right?
Actually, no, it's not.
Really?
Yeah, Yo's fan was great. I really loved it. The fact that we're actually getting into the battle, and one thing that I stupidly forgot to bring up in my review was what was happening with Keigo and Shinzo's like bodies, because when Keigo and Tayo go blooming, you see like this visage around Keigo's arm, and then when Shinzo goes blooming, you see like this black visage coming up from around his body. So I stupidly forgot to mention them, but I think what I think's going on here is particularly with Shinzo is that he has the profess blooming that Tayo does.
Oh yeah, I can see that one. I see with that in particular. I'm very happy we're getting into the fight this early, and we're potentially getting more stuff about bloomings and everything. But at the same time, I think Yo's fam needs to figure out what it wants to do with its pacing. And I've said this for
fair enough
countless videos. Because it does a lot of those speed up, slow down, but at a rapid pace. Like, you get like 5 very, very slow chapters and then 20 fast chapters. And it just speed blitzes through what could be conceivably some of the best content in the series.
Yeah, I would agree on that. But I feel like that's probably the author's intention, like trying to make it like a quote-unquote roller coaster ride.
Yeah, but when a roller coaster is like 2 seconds of steep incline and 35 seconds of a just drop, it's not really fun, is it?
No. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. But personally, I liked how the fight started, and I loved how the Keigo did like, oh, I'm Tayo, I'm Keigo, but I'm actually Tayo. No, I'm actually Keigo. Just having those layers upon layers of disguise because he knew what Shinzo, because he knew Shinzo, so he knew what it would be like to fight him.
I absolutely love that. That is probably my favorite part of the chapter. Like the femboy clones are so much fun.
I know, and also as well, when I posted to Red, one of the reasons why you have to read Yo's Fam now, Femboy Catboy going berserk.
It's just a good series overall. Like, with all its flaws, it's still an objectively good series.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd figure out the fucking pacing, and it'd be so much better.
To be honest, after Dr. Stone, because Dr. Stone doesn't have really good pacing, but it's the same thing that drew me to, like, the characters and just the story of what drew me. So, like, I can forgive the pacing for that. Like, if it's one drop it of oil in the ocean, then I'll take it.
Oh yeah, Yeah, it very much fits that criteria as well.
But yeah, my chapter of the week, I think it's gonna have to be Witch Watch.
I was my second guess because that was another really good one for me.
Yeah, I mean, Akane was really good for me personally because we're getting into like a new, a potential new arc of the series where we have various generations of Rakugo coming in and just Akane finding out like just how much at the bomb she is because she's like, okay, I've got to do all these other things before I get my chance to shine. And it's not going to be easy. And she can, and you have a guy saying like, "Who said you could take a break? There's still tons of work to do."
Yeah, I
But yeah,
just,
I know why. I know why you can't get into it,
yeah,
and I do totally get that.
yeah, it's just not for me.
Yeah,
Like, we talked about that at length
yeah,
before, so we're not going to get into that.
yeah.
But
And Chainsaw Man was Chainsaw Man. It was wild. It was wacky. You two said enough in the video.
yeah, that's why I'm not going to spend too much time on it right now. But that fucking that fucking chapter, like the one thing that I wish that we got out of it, right, is I wish I'm ordering medical tape right now. I wish that we would have gotten a little bit more of that internal dialogue from Yuko.
Yeah,
But I get why we didn't get so much because he's going to drag it out probably over the next couple chapters or maybe just the next chapter during the fight. Who knows? But that's one thing I really wish we got because I like her self justification of why she's about to go murder Happy in the school. You know, because and that's why I said like her design for the Justice Devil I think is like blind justice. You know, kind of like our here in America. I don't know if it's the same over in Britain or worldwide, but our fucking statue of the scales of justice has a blindfold over the eyes to mean that justice is supposed to be
let me
blind.
see. Let me see if it's in the UK.
Yeah, it's supposed to be justice is blind because you don't want to weigh the scales one way or the other. It's supposed to, and that's why we have like trial by jury and all these other proceedings here, to where we can kind of make sure everything is fair and just. Basically, obviously, our justice system needs fucking tons of work here. Um, like we have countless criminals, quote unquote, that are wrongfully convicted, and the justice system marginally takes the side of white over people of color quite often. But yeah, it's a broken system here, and it
Yeah,
vastly needs overall.
our scales of justice is not really like the scales. It's in one hand, of the Queen, I think, a statue of the Queen, because it's meant to, I think, represent duty to Queen and country.
Yeah, ours is basically the it's a take on the old version here of the Lady Justice, and it's a very, very tried and true statue. I'm just gonna put it in my cast
Y-
text. But yeah, that's kind of how our proceedings are here, like blindfold over eyes, holding the scales of justice. Um, but yeah, I've been in and out of courtrooms enough for the last like 3-4 months trying to change my name to have seen that statue 1,000 times. Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
and I'll post for the UK one.
But yeah, that's ours, and like I
So
think that's kind of the.
there's ours.
Oh yeah, see, yours is more sane because, like, you know, justice needs to be true instead of just 1,000 fucking people saying like that person did it, and then the wrong person getting convicted, like happens here quite often. But I think that's kind of what Fujimoto was going for with that design, and I kind of like that because justice being wrong is something that's very, very prevalent right now. With so many court proceedings going on and getting overturned, and right now, specifically in America, dealing with the whole January 6th shit. This video's not getting any ads mentioning that, is it? No, this video wasn't getting any ads, but regardless. But no, like that one in particular, where even our politicians that are meant to be holding up justice are being found to be corrupt. It's very, very telling of how broken our system is.
So what else is new?
Yeah, right. You guys deal with the same thing in the UK. Fucking
Yeah.
Boris.
Oh, I don't even get me started on Liz Truss and the Chancellor. Like the whole joke that I made then was in direct response to what happened because the Chancellor, who caused like the financial turmoil for the pound to go as low as it has, literally has been sacked only a month after getting the job. So that was my whole thing. Like, what is the difference between the common folk and the Tories? We can keep our jobs for more than 4 weeks.
Yeah. It's very true. Like, I kind of fuck with how brutal the British, government is. Because if you fuck up that bad, you're sacked.
Yeah,
you get promoted.
yeah. You've not seen like the parliamentary debates between the houses, because whenever like a speaker wants to speak, you'll just have the other party going like
So not too different than here in America.
yeah, pretty much.
Only
Pretty.
we don't have. Is it? I don't remember if it's the UK or if it's Canada, where they have like a fucking mace above the magistrate's desk in Parliament, where they can just grab it, like it's like right above their seat.
Yeah, the Mace UK Parliament.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the moment one of your politicians just fucking snaps and just bashes somebody's head in with a medieval mace.
Well, I think the only person that can do it is like the speaker, who's like the guy who's basically like the referee of everything.
You have a gavel, America? I have a mace.
Yeah, but I feel like they can't do that.
That's a few bashed heads, if it gets the point across.
Yeah, but the whole point is that the speaker has to be completely biased. He can't take any sides, he or she.
It's essentially like your speaker there is essentially like what just from my outside perspective, your speaker there is kind of what our Supreme Court is supposed to be. But well, also the Speaker of the House here too. I'm not the politics person, if you can't tell.
Neither am I. And yet we're talking about politics because while talking about manga, we can't do that because there's no politics in manga.
But like that's literally how I saw that being depicted. I guess we'll see how blind her justice is when she goes on her murder spree, or if then she just rips her in two and then tries to fuck the war devil, because
I think the way it will go about is that there will literally be someone who there's got to be at least one other person in the class who's not been like a arsehole towards Asa, and they probably see her in danger as Yoru and try to protect her, but in like Yoru's not your there's too many. Pardon?
Asa or Yoru or Yuko?
The friend Yuko. There's too many Y names.
Oh, very much.
Yeah, but yeah, Yuko sees that person and sees them like, oh, this person's gonna do something to you, do something to you, and kills them.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be tough, right? Because
yeah,
I see that, and I also see the potential for like this being utilized by the Devil Hunters Club there as a like exercise too, potentially. Which is very, very dark to think about, but this is also Fujimoto. Yoshida could use this as a way to showcase his abilities and what it takes to be a devil hunter. and that could lead to like a mass slaughter that he would be responsible of. This is something I thought about the other night after we got done recording the video, and I'm like, this could go all sorts of fucked up ways. But yeah, like I don't want a mass casualty event this early on in part 2.
No.
But I also realize that Fujimoto is going to Fujimoto.
Oh yeah, you want to know what I'm most shocked about?
What?
He hasn't shown Denji with Nayuta yet.
That is true. I wonder how dark Fujimoto wants to go with the Nyata.
You know I'm gonna be making that joke until it's confirmed otherwise. He's gonna do what he did in Fire Punch.
I don't think he's going to go that route, but I think that Denji could have used the child to bargain for money because he's still broke.
Yeah, unless Kishibe specifically forbidden him from doing that.
You think that would matter to a scumbag like Denji though?
I think it would because I think because the thing is, like, Kishibe is the only person that's truly ever, like, outside of Power and Aki, like, properly cared for him.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me, like, I've said this before, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, Kishibe is the, like, if not the principal, the chancellor of the school.
It's something that could be there. You know, it could be used as a cover for the Devil Hunters, you know.
Yeah,
and kind of like there was one Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, I think it was, where like the school was like a shield organization.
Okay.
And like the office was just Nick Fury running the school, and they could all just drop down in the principal's office to like the fucking helicarrier. Somehow the helicarrier was under the principal's office and would just shoot out because this is fucking Marvel. It was a cartoon on Disney XD till like 2018, I think. But yeah, like that Jesus Christ, I had cable till like 2018. That's just now dawning on me. But yeah, like that was a fun cartoon too. But like kind of that aspect.
Okay.
Here, but Kishibe just is the principal and just kind of heads it up and
yeah. And Kobani's obviously Kobani has to be in the school at this point.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
As a teacher.
Either as a teacher or a student. We don't really know like the age group for this.
I would say Kobani is like in her. I would say Kobani's probably in like her 20s.
Let's see.
And it's a high school, so it would be like 18. It would go up to.
Let's see, Kobani, Chainsaw Man. Hello, fire truck. I hear you. Just open up Chainsaw Man Wiki. Jesus Christ, there we go. I have reached the point where.
Oh yeah, 20.
Yeah. Yep, she's 20. And then we haven't seen her at all in part 2, so yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
She would be like a teaching assistant or.
Oh yeah, for sure. Teaching assistant, yeah. But yeah, to go off of Chainsaw Man and talk about my chapter of the week, Witch Watch.
Oh goodness, there's a lot to talk about there with this.
There is a lot. Like, I generally thought when I first saw this page, it's like, are we going to get another manga within a manga chapter?
And then we did.
Well, technically we did, but not quite.
Yeah, it's. I kind of like how they do these side stories in there.
Yeah.
Because they very much have their own unique way of telling their story.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
with Witch Watch, there's one thing that I've always admired this author's ability to do, and that is being able to tell natural character traits. And both of these people being otaku, or in the otaku culture, they very much fit that bubble.
Yeah, and also as well to because you'd figure like a lesser series would look at this and have what was her name again? Like the name of the student.
I'm horrible with their names, and that's unfortunately.
I'm trying to find it. Like where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I can't. I for the love of me cannot remember this character's name. But any other series, like there would be like multiple stories of them being bullied and being called like, oh, a teacher's pet.
Yep.
But again, and any other story, like a lesser story, they'd be like, I don't want to hang out with my teacher because it's my teacher. But no, because newsflash, every series out there, you could be friends with your teachers because newsflash, you're not their student forever.
Right, that's the thing. Like, I still keep in contact with a couple of my professors from college.
Yeah, I still as well. I've even worked. One of my teachers from school set up a youth drama group. I worked for her.
Yeah. I did volunteer work for one of the nonprofits one of my professors did, or worked with. There's a women's outreach group here in our city, setting up the network there for. I guess it wasn't like volunteer fully, but like it was like you got extra credit for going in there and setting up the network. I had an A in the class. I'm just like I want to learn, you know. And there's no better way to learn this profession than in the field. What is the field? Going into these like especially like in IT, which is my degree, going to these very outdated businesses that desperately need an overhaul and setting up a plan for them to overhaul their network and setting it up and working with them to like better that so these very very marginalized women that are just getting back to like working and getting off the streets because that's what this program does, and trying to get them out of homelessness and everything, just don't lose their fucking identity when they're going out there on the internet, because a lot of those types of people have not had access to internet in forever or at all, especially because it worked with like a lot of elderly people too. And as somebody with elderly parents, teaching somebody like that how to use the internet safely is a chore. um, so like I worked with him on that project and a couple of my other students, and that was one of the best experiences I've had in that field. And it's also like one of the reasons why I left that field, because I realized that I did not have the incapacity to deal with 7,000 different layers of security to kind of like there was so much red tape in that I'm like, this is like dealing with the fucking government, you know?
Yeah.
Because it kind of was at that point. I realized like, oh, the biggest paying jobs in this field are more government based, and I already don't like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm like, I'd rather just be a creator and work at a job that I don't have to lift myself up out of my comfy home and go 3/4 of the way across the country or to a third world country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the jobs for IT. Like you got here in America, you got California, Texas. That's really it. And then you have like subcontractors for the military in the Middle East.
Yeah.
That's it. Like those are the big paying jobs, and I do not want to live where I could get nuked by our own government. I'm sorry, or I should say drone strike by our own government, not nuked. Oh, they were just collateral damage. Sorry about that. Apologies to the 5 families of our military contractors that we just accidentally targeted with our drone. We'll pay for the funerals.
And then you get an Alex Jones type person coming on and saying like they're all actors.
And then you pay $965 million to the families and damages. Except you don't even have $965 million to your name. So you're going to declare bankruptcy on your LLC, then your fucking person, and then your home's dead because you're going to try and avoid that debt as you try and appeal it to an amount you can pay. Fuck Alex Jones. I think that's a very universally accepted opinion.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't when you're talking about stuff like that, yeah. In the words of South Park, we believe in tolerance and free speech and all that and all that junk. But dude, fuck you.
South Park continues to be based. I still need to watch the new season.
I still need to watch it as well. But yeah, going back to the chapter, like I just one. The reason why I love this chapter is because I just adore this relationship that they've got, like to just find each other, find like, hey, even though we're teacher and student, that we can have a common interest and we can do something together as like a side project, and just go and just finding out that the thing that they try to put as a fan fiction turned out to turn into canon, and then they're like, oh, we can just make it anyway. They're like, no, the canon is gospel.
Yeah, that image will get so much use over in the just infinite future. Like, that is just such a great image.
I think OneSmart has used it because yeah, because I said to him, it's like when he was talking about the Boruto anime, I was just like, why don't we just make the manga and anime separate at this point and just say they're both canon? And then he just posted the image.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same way a lot of people see. There's a couple others. Dragon Ball Super, for example. Because technically, the anime was its own thing for the longest time, and then they started doing the manga. The manga's past the anime now, so now they consider the manga canon. But technically, I believe it was Toriyama that said, like, the anime is the canon. But I could be misquoting that. I mean, Toriyama's forgot his own fucking characters for the longest time. Like, Launch, he's talked about, like, I forgot she existed. Like, there's the Araki forgot meme, but Toriyama has literally forgot his characters. So yeah, that's just like, they can both be their own canon. Like,
it might as the Boruto anime might as well be at this point, because how much of the manga is out there?
I have no idea. I have not. I have consumed fights from the Boruto anime. I have not watched the anime. I have not watched or read the manga. I have consumed like fights.
Okay.
Thurman talked about like how good the fight choreography with, I believe it's Momoshiki is how you say the character's name was. With Sasuke and Naruto, there's this one famous fight from like season 1 or 2 of the anime, and it has like god tier animation. I think Red used it as an edit in an early podcast, or it might have just been another Naruto fight. But yeah, like there was a lot of good animation out of it, and I'm like, this is what the Black Clover anime could have been if they would have put that budget towards what they were fucking promoting at the time, instead of Naruto's, son's adventures, which didn't need to be a thing to begin with. I'm sorry, Boruto stands, all 5 of you.
Like OneSmart.
I don't care. That series did not need to exist. Just like Dragon Ball Super didn't need to exist. I'd say the same for both of those. The spinoff to the fucking 7 Deadly Sins did not need to exist.
But yeah, just quickly going back to which one. Another thing that I do love about the show is just like the cramming of the of trying to get the work done and then losing it like on page 12, and they're like, data loss, the one accident anyone working digitally must be extremely cautious of. Hours, if not days, of work can vanish in an instant if you aren't careful, and then you're just panicking like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but
and that
I can so sympathize with this chapter though. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I can imagine, and I believe it was when I was reading Look Back on Stream. I said I can only imagine the life of a mangaka or an animator is a living hell because you have that week deadline. Um, Speaking of my best friend, she's just texting me. But like there is a limit to your sanity there because getting that deadline week after week after week after week, and this is why I'm so glad that Jump is more forgiving now for their authors. Like looking at Ruby Dragon in particular, right?
Yeah.
They gave them such a hiatus. Like that weekly deadline is so fucking brutal. I can only imagine like trying to enter a contest to get in a magazine or to do something like that for a first time artist. Yeah. And this I think captured that really, really well, you know? But I do have one criticism for this chapter.
Go on.
The spelling of the Doshinshi. Because there's like and that's my alarm. This is turning into quite the podcast.
Yeah.
No, like there has been so many spellings for that word in my lifetime that I don't even know which one is technically correct anymore.
Oh, right. The actual word
Right.
dojinshi.
Right. Like I have seen that spelled so many different ways so often that I don't even know which one is the correct spelling anymore. It's not a criticism against the author or the translation or anything. It's just against my own fucking stupid monkey brain. Because I have seen it spelled so many ways, and that is because I've read so much smut in my life that trying to find, especially like Faku and all, because this ain't getting fucking ads at this point. Look, listen to all the tangents we've been on. Faku and hentai and all those sites, like, is spelled differently on every fucking site.
Yeah.
And then seeing it in an actual manga, I'm like, is this the correct spelling? Or is the one from the porn site right? Or is it this porn site over? And that was my dumb monkey brain reading this chapter.
And then you get on page 17 the novel, what I think we should call the novel pages now.
Right. And there were so many of them. And hey, Togashi, take note, my friend.
Yeah, this is, you don't have to have a page of just pure blank text. I'm sorry, Red.
This is the perfect way to do those novel spreads that he loves so much, and not fucking kill his hands in the. Well, I guess it probably does work better for him, you know, with all the pain and shit, right? Like to just have like blank pages.
Well, then just make it a novel.
What will complete first, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary friends? Will Togashi finish Hunter x Hunter first, or will George R.R. Martin finish the fucking Game of Thrones series?
I think Togashi's going to finish first.
I will never let that go, because those were the two like famous incomplete series, and Togashi has wrote more shit than fucking George R.R. Martin has put into Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
This man has wrote for fucking Elden Ring, wrote 3 other fucking series, but he has not finished The Winds of Winter. And the time that Togashi has basically finished his manga.
Hell, I've even finished the trilogy before they've both finished their series.
I finished. So, it releases Halloween. I talked about it on Twitter. I started an album when I was in high school. I found the hard drive
Right.
I was moving, and I fucking went back, remastered, redid vocals, and did like 5 other tracks on that album because I've been trying to, like, in a dark way, complete parts of my life that I've kind of let go. I know it sounds like very, dark, but I don't like leaving things unfinished to begin with. But I just kind of let it go. And I let it go, and I let it go, and I let it go for years. I always said I'd go back to it. I finished it, and it comes out Halloween. Because
Nice.
of course, the fucking goth person, am releasing shit on Halloween. Very poetic, because that was kind of how it started. It was as fucking idiotic as it is. It was kind of like my own tribute shit to My Chem, and My Chem's back, and Paramore's back, and Blink 182's back, and I'm broke as shit from buying concert tickets. I spent $1,200 fucking dollars on My Chemical Romance tickets.
What?
They sold out in 3 seconds.
What?
I had to buy them from a scalper, and I hate myself for that. Because I have always on this channel preached, don't give in to the scalpers. Don't give in to the. I gave in to the fucking scalpers because I have since I was fucking 14 wanted to see them live, and I've never been able to, and it was the best goddamn experience of my life.
Okay, okay. When you've said it like that, I think you deserve an exception.
But I fucking kicked myself in the dick the entire time. I dropped 2 weeks' pay on those fucking tickets. And it was worth it. It was fucking worth it. But, like, that's how it started. It was, like, me in high school being a big My Chem fan, and I fucking finished it, and I'm proud of myself, and I don't like promoting my other shit. Like, I didn't promote the fucking AMV at all. I just put it out there, like, hey, made this thing. Here you go. But, those are things I objectively love doing. I've always loved being a vocalist and making music. I forgot how much fun that was doing that. But
Oh
I also
yeah.
forgot how much fucking work that was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I wouldn't mind doing that, like, occasionally, but not to that level of going back over, like, because there's nothing somebody hates more than listening to their own voice, especially if they have to edit their own voice.
Yeah.
So, if anybody that's viewing this has ever used programs like Autodyne or any kind of DAW, you know exactly how hellacious that process is. Hearing yourself with raw vocals, layering that shit, throwing in a beat, or playing the instrument if you can still play the instrument. I picked up a guitar for the first time in fucking 13 years. Just a chore as somebody with carpal tunnel to play guitar, but I've been doing that with friends now, and that's a fun thing. That's why, like, when I was doing that project, I wanted to actually go out and perform again. That was the whole thing, because I used to be very involved with the punk scene here. I talked about this on my channel, and I think in an other podcast. So, like, there's a couple venues here in our city that you can just go and perform. So I did that, and one of the days that I had agreed to perform there was a few days after I broke my arm. So imagine
Ouch.
singing and playing guitar with a broken arm.
Yeah.
That was the worst experience of my life. I'm like, I need all the fucking painkillers right now as I'm strumming a guitar with a broken arm. So yeah, don't be a masochist for content. I say as we are becoming masochists for content, Luke.
Yeah. But one thing I will say very quickly is that I do love, like, the ending of the chapter. Well, towards the end, of like how even after going through all of that hard work, panicking and struggling, they say, like, it feels like we're throwing on cloud nine. This feeling of satisfaction is incredible. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it doesn't sell well. Right now, we can barely wait for the event to start. I think that's, like, a really strong message to take away from anything you do, anything you do in life. Like, even if it doesn't sell or just sells one copy, the fact that you just completed something and got it done and were passionate about it, I feel like that gets more satisfaction than anything else.
Oh yeah, like there's so many good lessons in Witch Watch. I think all of the Jump titles that are going on right now is one that is very much focused on that old school, like, I want to teach the reader a lesson every week.
Yeah.
And you don't really see that anymore, which is shocking when you think about it, because these stories that we read used to be very focused on teaching morals and, an actual like lesson at the end of every chapter or during each chapter, right? Um, kind of like American cartoons used to do that, right?
Yeah.
Look to even like Looney Tunes and Scooby Doo. They every week or every episode they would teach you a lesson. You Scooby Doo most famously being like the monsters are the people closest to you usually. And shockingly, that could also be attached to the projects. Not getting into that one. But anyway, like those days are kind of over now, and they're just about telling a story with little bits and pieces of morality sprinkled in. That's not really like ending on a moral high note or a lesson high note. It's teaching you about the journey, which I kind of like more because there are so many of those classic tales now from your classic fairy tales where your lessons are Stockholm syndrome and the consent was not a thing back in the 30s. I jest, but the fucking grim fairy tales that we base the Disney movies off of are completely fucked. I I've always liked grim fairy tales, but they are fucked. They are absolutely fucked. Like Cinderella specifically, the grim fairy tale version of that was very very fucked. Or that if you want to live your dreams, you're going to lose your tongue and then die. A Little Mermaid. But no, like there were very very good morals baked into a lot of our childhood, so we don't really need to tell those anymore. As I shitpost in real time, like there's a lot that needs to be addressed from that era as well, and I think we're doing a good job to correct that too. But these news stories don't really need to rely on that. They need to rely on keeping a reader focused because our attention spans have become dog shit.
Yeah. I'm just trying. I'm just trying to fit because Pyjams is trying to get in here, but he can't seem to access it.
Oh, right. Do you want to make him an orange right now?
Yeah.
I think this is locked to orange only. Because we were trying to keep this chat.
How much? How many? How do you do it?
Let me do it real quick. Let's see. They have changed how this works.
There we go. So I'll message him quickly now.
Yeah. But like those when you think back to like our attention spans back 10, 20 years ago, right? To now, they are just completely gone. Like we've become so focused on sitting in front of our phones, sitting in front of social media, sitting in front of like the computer screen that we don't really have time to sit and absorb like the moral message of the series. So I think what the authors were doing is sprinkling those in along the way instead of like ending the chapter on them like they used to. And Witchwatch has done that fantastically these last couple chapters specifically. Hey, there we go.
Hey, Party Jams.
Hey.
Yeah. So we were just talking about our chapters of the week, and mine was Witchwatch. I'll just quickly say my piece on it and let you take stage. But yeah, what I want from this relationship between the otaku teacher and student is that by the end of the series, I want them to have an official manga.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it'll happen.
I got to
I
boost
think
your audio.
basically just like the authors like slowly showing how someone can become a mangaka, effectively from him. Kind of cool.
Yeah. I think there's something wrong with your audio just a little bit, Pyjams.
Oh, okay, hang on.
Yeah, I boosted him to 200%, but it's still pretty low. But yeah, like that.
Oh.
I
What's up?
I do think that we'll see this as potentially a spin-off, or what Jump's doing now a lot is the light novels as spin-offs, like the Chainsaw Man buddy stories, for example. I think we might get this.
Okay, I should be good now.
Yeah, you're good now.
I was on the wrong mic, my bad.
But yeah, like I think that's kind of what we'll see this in, and I can lower you a little bit now because it's pretty high.
Yeah, and we're getting into a new arc in the next chapter, which I'm very excited. I'm honestly, because I don't think Nico knows much about the otaku culture, so this is going to be a new experience for her, probably.
Oh, very much so, and it's gonna be fun.
The other thing with this arc that's interesting is it's really been built up for a while when you think about it, because we've had this subplot of them making their own manga for a couple chapters, dedicated chapters, and this side story that exists inside the universe has also had its own dedicated chapter once. So I'm thinking this arc might be pretty big.
I would also. Oh my! I would love it. I would love it if after spending time with Wolf and Kengo, that Nemu became an otaku.
Oh, okay. And also, I always notice you mix up Keigo and Kengo from Yosakura.
Yeah, the similar sounding names. That's why it's confusing.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of funny because I also watch your reviews.
Yeah, but yeah, we talked about Mission Yosakura. Like, I'll just briefly go over that quickly. Because one thing I forgot to mention in the chapter was like the black substance that was coming off Shinzo at the end of it. At the end of the chapter, so I believe that he's probably got the profusive blooming like Tayo's got. That was one thing I forgot to mention.
I think it might still have something to do with whatever Momo did to them, but could be. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, but yeah, this again, which watch did it for me this week more so than Mission Yozakura, because I just love this relationship between the teacher and student. It's, if I had to pick like my favorite ongoing relationship, it's probably these two. Like out of any Jump relationship.
Okay, well, that's an interesting take. I mean, it is a good one, and it does remind me of like a high school teacher who I also shared some of my hobbies with. So it is nice to see.
Yeah. So that's all I've really got to say on my chapters of the week. So if you had any, did you want to save what's happening with Super Smartphone for the end of year Jump stream?
Yeah, we could probably save the one for later because
Alright.
that'll be ending next time. So we'll see how it ends.
All right.
And there's an epilogue as well that's been confirmed. So I don't have the full picture yet.
Okay, so
Like, it seems like every time you get into a series, it kind of ends abruptly too.
Yeah, that's what always happens. At least Akane is surviving, and the piano manga actually turned around to become something really good. Because that was actually my chapter of the week.
okay.
I'm quite behind politics, so I don't really have context for that.
Well, basically, every arc is like a new sibling, more or less, although the current arc is kind of incorporating multiple siblings. And I think each arc progressively gets better, because like the first, I mean, I guess minus the intro arc where we just kind of establish some characters, each sibling kind of like teaches us like something new about Lucky's backstory and his relationships. And also, like, I think his family situation becomes more clear over time. And at this time, I think what's interesting is we had like a kind of a whole character arc for Lucky within this small arc. So that was kind of nice to see, because we went from Lucky being like extremely timid to being like, I realized that my kindness is kind of selfish, so I'm just going to embrace the selfishness of what I'm doing. And to like just this chapter going back to being like, okay, no, that's not the way I want to go about this. I'm doing this for my family and to bring them all back together. So yeah, he went through a whole roller coaster of a character arc. And it was like this chapter specifically is just beautifully done because it brings a character from the one shot to full fruition, which was nice to see.
Okay. Yeah, again, the reason why I could never get into PPP was because of the subject matter. Like, I would much rather. I would probably get more into this if it was an anime.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I do agree that is one of the weaknesses. I mean, I remember watching a music anime a few seasons ago that I have to get back to, but I always thought to myself, wait, this was based off of manga? Like, how does that work? You can't even, like, hear any of these. So, at the very least, I mean, this is, like, not an easy series to get into, I'll admit, because the piano pieces all have deeper meanings, which tie into the themes of those characters and arcs, and I don't understand most of it, if I'm being honest, but it's very beautifully illustrated.
Oh yeah, it's very, very. I love the art style so much in it. And that's what really hooked me in it. Along with being more musically inclined than acting inclined, like it just got me more than Akane did. But like the art style is so unique. I would love to see this one animated so bad. And it actually does need to be animated for a lot of people to be able to enjoy it too. I think that's the struggle with a lot of the more musical manga is once it gets animated, it reaches that broader audience because not everybody wants to read music. As weird as that sounds, because you kind of have to be able to read, play music. But yeah, that's just my take on that one. I haven't read this chapter, so I can't really weigh in too much.
Well, I can definitely say you have a lot to look forward to. You guys did the chapters. Did anyone talk about Sakamoto Days?
I did.
Yeah, Fex did.
Oh yeah, I think that would be like my second choice. That or JJK, because yeah, Sakamoto Days was also very good. People really like this chapter, and for good reason. I think it did a good job, like messing with our expectations, but also is really setting up, I think, a lot of things for the next arc after this. So yeah, it's a great chapter.
I think
And then,
really well with
go ahead.
Sakamoto Days has been the choreography as well.
I mean, yeah, the choreography has always been like top tier. I think that and some of the cool things they did with the paneling were like the biggest claim to fame for this series. The other thing is, I was very worried when I was started this series that it would kind of be too much slice of life for my taste, but they just completely tossed the slice of life elements just out the window, and that's like the best decision they made.
Oh yeah. I do kind of miss that, but at the same time, like ever since they ditched it, it's been top tier week after week after week.
Yeah, and I mean, it might have still been fine, but I don't think it would have been nearly as amazing as it would be right now. Because right now there's so much like backstory and lore, and it's always on track towards the next story beat. I would say the only real problem is like, and this is probably true for a lot of series, like even P6 that I was mentioning earlier. A lot of early characters they introduced and fleshed out kind of stopped mattering, but that's kind of just a tradition in shonen. Characters just gradually go away from the focus.
Yeah. Like, like I'm just trying to think. Like, what is a perfect example is like when beginning of Doctor Stone when we thought Taiju was going to play a major role and then he kind of like fizzled out as the series went on in favor of Chrome.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much that.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I could talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know if either of you guys are reading it.
I'm not
Actually,
reading
no, Vex, I think you are.
JJK. I'm not reading it.
So that's all you, man.
Okay, cool. So yeah, basically, I think I mentioned this in our Discord, but what's nice is that with JJK, we're finally focusing back on the main characters of the story after spending so much time with a lot of the side cast. And we have some interesting plot developments, and we're also going back to like the focus of Yuji like struggling with suicidality effectively, and how it's tying into the main plot. But what I really liked about this chapter, especially, and what makes it very close to chapter of the week, is there's just that we have the main antagonist plans a little more revealed because they were keeping that really close to the chest for some reason for the longest time. And like this is the summary. The bad guy is trying to sell like the Japanese citizenry to America or to foreign governments to use as an alternate power source. That is the short version.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yep. And I gotta say, I did not expect that. I'm pretty sure there's some deeper stuff to why that's happening, but I don't know what it is. But I have to say, like, as soon as the chapter was like talking to the American president, saying it's like, oh, cursed energy can be used as a fuel source, and it's only for some reason in Japan. So, Mr. President, right now this is a war zone going on in Tokyo, and a lot of people with free cursed energy running around. And the president's like, you think I'm just going to go to Japan and just start kidnapping Japanese citizens? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what you're going to do.
That's actually insane.
So
Like,
lots of commentary on the American government from manga.
yeah. Okay, that's actually pretty dope. I might need to catch back up now.
What's interesting, and I'm pretty sure Giga didn't do some purposes, I thought a lot about Japanese like internment camps and whatnot when like they were talking about all this. And for those who aren't aware, like World War II, America like put a lot of Japanese citizens that were living in California in camps, like to because there were the threat of them being spies or whatever. Because I don't know, they were sending messages in bottles or something. I don't even understand the logic, but yeah, we just like kept them there for a while, and it was horrible. And it's very under taught, I feel like, in American curriculum, because I didn't even learn about that till high school. And I'm like, why did no one tell me this was a thing that we did? So yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to come up or not, but I was thinking about like all the different ways they could really expand upon this idea.
Oh god. Yeah, it's shocking. Like you bring up a great point. Like there is so much that we didn't really learn about history in school that we've learned through other media. It shockingly like kind of now I'm learning more about so dumb. I'm learning more about how fucked our government was during World War II, specifically through crime podcasts, and what all we would do overseas, crime wise. Which is kind of bizarre. And then I look back at like even during the Iraq War and shit, like we were really fucked with what we did then, as well with all the PNC groups too. Like so, like our education system fails us on a whole other level here. I don't know about you, Luke, how good your education system is out the UK.
Uh, um, it's kind of like all over the place at the moment.
Well, yeah, you got the whole like kind of
Call,
kind of
go
shitty,
ahead.
Kind of shitty prime minister, but less shitty than the last prime minister.
Uh, I'd say they're both just equally shit because at least Boris didn't tank the country in his first month of office. But yeah, I think the thing it's kind of hit and miss because a lot of people because they're now talking about like put maybe extended the school day to kind of help people out, and I'm just there thinking like, yeah, that's a good thing, like because a lot of people are. A lot of people work during the day, and they have to work around going on the school run, getting to school and everything. And then you've got arguments from people saying like, "Oh, the kids go home exhausted," and I'm just there thinking like, okay, if they're exhausted after school, how come they have the time to come into a shop to randomly get things that they don't need and they look perfectly fine? Speaking from experience here.
Yeah, and that's actually been touted here as well. At least in some states, like because we're so far behind from COVID, right? that we
Yeah.
just extend our school days. But I can speak from my personal experience. Like, going to school at 7 a.m. and leaving at 3 was okay-ish. They're wanting to extend that to like 5, 6 p.m. here. And I'm like, I don't even like working those hours as an adult. Do you think a kid's gonna want to sit there and waste their entire fucking day and not be a kid? Like, it's stupid. But yeah, like, just I think the only other chapter, other than like, because part of James Robbins JGK, I think the only other chapter that really I read was Black Clover.
Yeah.
And Black Clover, I've said this many, many, many times. I don't know why I read it weekly. If I'm not making content out of it, I don't know why I'm reading it weekly, right? And that was why I was reading it I got caught up. I read it weekly, made content out of it for a while, and then now Tabata, I love you, but you really make this a struggle to read weekly. Because I don't know if it's just I was forcing myself to read it weekly, or I've just gotten so disinterested in what it's doing right now, or it's just a whole lot of other external factors. But I just am not a fan of this final arc.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it either. I think it's more a case of like you've got Asta in Yami's homeland without Yami actually being there.
Yeah, I think that does play a part. I mean, I would say I enjoyed the chapter. It wasn't one of my top of the week, but in many ways, objectively, the chapter is just Asta doing another training arc, but like extremely abridged, and also just like which isn't that different from magic. Like, they didn't really differentiate it all that much. So it's just like a different category of magic training arc that's probably going to be wrapped up fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like, but like since the end of the like Spade arc, it kind of just felt it kind of falling off for me. And like you're right, like it's just another generic training arc. It's just another form of magic, another form of protection for him. It's not going to be a long arc, I get that, but at the same time, like, we've had how many fucking training arcs in Black Clover?
About like
I mean,
6 or 7.
at the very least, they tend to be pretty short, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's not like Bleach level training arc bullshit where it's like 20, 30 chapters, but still, I don't know, I'm just tired of fucking training arcs. Make it a chapter, hero gets the power up, make it a super long chapter, and then take a couple weeks off. I don't care. Just don't make me sit through 10, 15 chapters of this shit anymore, guys. It's 2020 fucking 2. We don't need it. We know the hero's going to 9 times out of 10 the hero's going to win. We know this. This is shonen. Like,
Yeah.
there's no point in it. Like, we are trained to know this. Unless you're like Fujimoto and you kind of subvert the expectations at every turn. And even then, like, Denji still won. He just won at a great cost to his morality. Cannibal Cult.
Well, does it really count? Because does it technically count? Because Makima wasn't a human.
Wait, what?
I mean, she technically was kind of a fiend, but yeah, no, it's still a win. It's still a win. Like, he still won. He beat the bad guy. That's a win. I still like. I'm just done with training arcs, and they've been done to death from Dragon Ball on down. I'm just sick of them, and with
Yeah.
Black Clover in particular, it's how he writes them. I don't like how he writes a training arc, and I feel like that was my biggest turnoff when I originally read it, was like reading up to like the Seabed Temple arc. I'm like, oh, this is just dragging, this is dragging, this is dragging, and then that hit, and I'm like, I'm done. And then I forced myself to get caught up for content purposes, and I'm just like, there were at least 4 other training arcs in that and I'm just like, okay, they're all the same. There's not a fucking beat different. It's just you learn You learn this magic, and then you move on to the next bad guy. But during that, you usually meet one trainee or one trainer, and then that one trainer or two trainers or three trainers in your group are just they're buffing up to fight the bad guy. It's the Dragon Ball formula. But when you mix the Dragon Ball formula for training and the Bleach formula for the final arc, it's a real struggle. To me, anyway. So I think that's another one. Like, I've been letting JJK build up. I think I'm just going to start letting Black Clover build up. But overall, I do like Yami's sister. Like,
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yami's sister is an interesting character.
Well, technically, we have to. Well, technically, Yami's their last name.
Yeah, but I don't really feel like picking up his first name right now.
It's Sukehiro, isn't it? Was the
yeah, something like that.
Where we all thought for the longest time that was his last name, but no, that's his actual first name.
Wait, did we think that was? I mean, I'm never sure because, like, in Japan, they sometimes call people by their last names.
Yeah, but a lot of people were probably thinking that that was his last name.
That's just dumb, but I do get it because you technically do in some cultures do that. So I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah. It's just bugging me now. Like they've said all this time, like Ryu is Yami's best friend. I'm like, no, he can't just be his best friend. He looks too similar to Yami. That's what's bugging me. It's Yami if his face was a little narrower and his hair was a bit more rugged, but it's just Yami. That's what's bugging me. Like, okay, not his brother then.
Clan of his people. And culture.
I guess a cousin then. If he's Yami's cousin, then that would make sense.
But I don't know how much of that's down to the translation because we do know that our translations aren't always like one for one here. As much as I hate to give into that argument that we got during the whole like manga can't have politics in it, it is true. Like our translations aren't one to one always, and that could be one that they just like, oh, best friend is better than cousin because we had the whole debacle with Sailor Moon and but I don't know. It's very weird. I don't care as much about that as you do, but I can see that it could just be a relative, and we just got a mistranslation in the officials.
Mm.
Or they're potentially hiding it for some reason. Yeah. Like, there's also that.
That also could be a thing. Maybe he doesn't want to reveal that to Asta because then Asta would be even more of a fanboy. Who knows? It's just one of those little tiny manga things. This is how I chalk it up.
Fair enough.
I do see it. I do see it being like a younger, slimmer, more rugged-looking Yami. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I read this week. I haven't even read Ayakashi yet. I forgot to read that.
Ayakashi. It's Ayakashi, so what do you expect?
I expect it to be bordering on putting me on a watch list every time I read it.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I just accept that fate at this point. Like, that's in the particular why I didn't read it is because I was working when the chapters came out. I'm like, I am not reading this in my fucking break room. There is no way in hell. I might get a moment to sneak off to the bathroom and read it, but then I'm like, no, that would be even just morally that would be even more suspect to me.
Yeah, it would.
I gotta hide my shame over here in the shitter real quick. Oh, that just sounds horrible.
All I will say is that we get the return of Katsuzu, but not Katsuzu.
Oh, lovely. What is it with jumping cats right now? It's just insane. Like there's a fascination with Chainsaw Man, in Cats. You have him in fucking Yo's fame. You have him in Ayakashi. Like, what is going on? It's crazy. But as a cat person, I kind of respect it.
Yeah. I think the only other series that I'm reading at the moment is Tokyo Demon Bride Story.
Yeah, but there's not too much to really talk about with that series.
It's pretty standard. I mean, I'm enjoying it a lot, but it's a standard story.
I mean, I will at least say that the last chapter, it was very sweet, like just character building chapter. I think they're doing just a good job making the main female character like very likable. So it has that going for it, but doesn't have too much else. And I don't think the other new series I'm reading is very much better. Like it's not bad. It's just the pacing is just weirdly fast, like constantly on rocket fuel. And I'm just like, where are we going with this story?
It's very standard for those first few chapters too, and that's unfortunately a sign that it's not doing very well publicly, I would say. But we never know anymore because everything we thought we knew about the ranking systems kind of has been proven to not really be 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, smartphone and probably aliens area.
Yeah, to me, it comes down to two things. If it where it ranks in the magazine week to week, and how well the volumes do.
Yeah.
Like, cause even
and
though
also then there's color pages after that.
Yeah, because even though Yo's Found doesn't do too well in the numberings, it still ranks. It still ranks in the middle, and it gets a lot of color pages. So that's why I say, like, okay, it's sticking around for a while.
Yeah, and Undead Unluck just went really far down in terms of sales, but it's getting color pages and a whole anime.
Yeah, well, I think that's ending. It's gotta be because we're literally.
I mean, we confirmation, but it's based on what's happening. Yeah, it can't be more than like a year.
We're at God at the moment, Vex.
Let it die. Let it die.
At the final.
I am
final boss, first attempt.
And it's fucking. It'll reset, and then they'll have to go back and boss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
But considering the pacing of this series, I imagine it'll still be pretty short.
I just want it over with. I loved it in the beginning, and it just fell to shit for me during the summer weapon arc, and it just continued to like be the worst pile of dog shit to me. Anyway, I don't want to shit on Undead Unluck too much because I know it has its defenders, and I don't want to field 7,000 comments. I'll save that for Twitter. But like, the only other thing that I really wanted to talk about today, and I feel like because we talked about it during the Power Rangers podcast, I want to kind of give us a semi-correction, Luke.
Okay.
And that's the Cartoon Network Studios thing, right?
Because you said that it was being get rid or merging or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I read because I opened Twitter as I often do while we're filming because I try to keep up on things, especially like because my front page is of my Twitter personally right now has just been all Power Rangers related because I've been talking about Power Rangers for so long because I've been promoting like the Power Rangers by the Era. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll see some Cosmic Fury news while we're filming this or something like that. I open it and that's the first fucking thing I see is Cartoon Network Studios is no more. And I'm like, what? That's kind of fucked. But as we were filming, I kept opening Twitter because I kept seeing like my artist friends and shit retweeting it. And I'm like, oh, there's more to the story than meets the eye. But I didn't want to derail that video too much. That's why I said we'll talk about more during this podcast. And it's not fully gone. Hanna-Barbera Studios, Cartoon Network Studios, and Warner Brothers Animation will all work in tandem. It's just part of the restructuring plan that David Zaslav, the fucking jackass has been killing Warner Brothers, basically, has been allegedly, I'm going to steal a page out of Simon Whistler here. Look, allegedly an asshole, allegedly a piece of shit, and allegedly needs to be completely shit canned from that. But anyway, he's been restructuring the whole company, basically making shit tax write-offs. That's why we saw a lot of cartoons get canceled. Unfortunately, a lot of animators are now out of jobs, and they just basically are all going to work under one umbrella, but they're going to be 3 separate entities still. But it's a very weird way of restructuring thing, and it's kind of reminiscent if you were a fan of Rooster Teeth, of what happened when Otter Media bought Rooster Teeth, which was part of AT&T, which is now part of Warner Brothers. So yeah, it's kind of like that, where they're just all going to be like their own thing, but they're also not their own thing, and that works so fucking well. So,
And I'd like to just throw in also that stock-wise, Warner Brothers has not been doing great. So
I'm a gambler at heart. I was kind of tempted to buy Warner Brothers stock just to see it go up a little bit when Black Adam, and then just sell it.
you know what? I wouldn't blame you. I would
I'd
not.
probably
Because
do
it
the
seems like
same
a good
thing.
time based on those prices.
Right? Here, let's make a couple $100 real cheap. But my
Might as well at their expense.
yeah, but like my taxes are already a fucking mess from running 3 channels. I don't want them to be any more of a mess.
Mm, that's
So,
fair.
my tax agent hated me last year because I wrote off like a couple $1,000s worth of Yu-Gi-Oh cards because I opened them during streams.
Hey, look, you're just being smart.
I'm like, I'm getting a return on my investment here. I also flipped a bunch of those cards because I'm a piece of shit sometimes. And I also didn't need 17.
I mean, that's how the trading card game works.
I also didn't need 17 copies of Red Apple Magician. I really didn't.
You're fighting me with fruit. Don't mock me.
But like, there's no need for 17 copies of it. And I'm just like, those can go back up on TCG Player. But no, like that was something that I was debating on doing, and if you're going to do it, I am not a financial advisor, so don't take my advice, please. But no, like it's just so unfortunate because we see the animation industry constantly struggle to maintain mainstream relevancy of any kind because it's always treated as a kids medium when it's really not. Animation is for everyone, and we've said that time and time again, and we're not.
I hate it when people say that. That's basically like saying nobody can watch something when they grow older because it's for this demographic.
Right. You want to know the really disturbing thing that I've found is really calming?
What?
I still go back and listen to old, Let's Plays, right? So
Yeah.
I use YouTube to go to sleep. And regardless of my feelings towards the incidents that occurred, Achievement Hunter is one of those I can just fall asleep to because I've listened to a lot of other Let's Plays time and time again. I find their Minecraft Let's Plays to be like, because they were just like really, really relaxing podcasty style stuff. I can just throw that playlist on. But I keep forgetting that one of the creators in that is kind of a create. Well, it's not even kind of. Like, Brian Haywood is very much a piece of shit. I keep forgetting he was in like a good chunk of like 200 of those episodes. But I still find those Let's Plays to be very relaxing, and it kind of puts you in that moral dilemma. The other thing that I find very relaxing, because it puts my animals to sleep, is My Little Pony.
Really?
That makes sense.
I'm surprised. I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at it being My Little Pony. I'm just like I'm more surprised that it's that more than anything. Like
my dog was raised on My Little Pony because my mom grew up grew up watching the old episodes, like the really old like 80s ones.
Oh.
Yeah, like Gen 1.
Yeah, the Gen 1. So she always has loved My Little Pony. So when Friendship is Magic was on, she's like, "Oh, My Little Pony's back," and she's like kind of reliving her childhood in a way, or her teenage years, early adulthood, really, but because she basically raised her sister, and because of that, my dog was raised on My Little Pony, so I've just used that as a coping mechanism for whenever my pets have been a piece of shit. I'll just throw that on because it's literally on the fucking Roku channel. I'm like, here you go, My Little Pony, and they'll just calm down. And it's just as stupid as that show is, and it is objectively stupid because it's aimed at like fucking 5-year-olds. It's really calming because of the color palette, and that's what I really find calms Shion and Hades down. And it's just like, oh, I can sit down here, pet them, laugh at how absurdly stupid the show is, and then they'll fall asleep. It's like fucking crack to them. And because they love, while I'm recording or while I'm playing a game, to just come and howl at the door, I've now just gotten in the habit of throwing on the My Little Pony Roku channel in the living room, so they'll just stay in there and watch it like drug addicts. I feel bad saying that, but the effect it has on them. So I'm like, this is really nice. I can use this. It's like the shitty parent putting their kid in front of a tablet. I'm doing it with my pet. And this is why I'll never have children, because I would be an objectively shitty parent. But yeah, like that's kind of like why I've always been a defender of animation, and there's one unsung hero out of this entire situation, guys, and that is the fucking person that's going around just dropping Google Drive links on Twitter. I filled remember I don't know if both of you saw, but like I found the old archive hard drive for the channel, the 8 terabyte hard drive.
Okay.
I used to put all that. I filled that with like every Google Drive, just downloaded.
Wow.
I even got like the whole fucking Adventures of Gumball, Samurai Jack, OKKO, Mao Mao, all that shit that they've been putting out there. Just downloaded it all to that. So in the mix of like, here's the first Batman Let's Play I ever did, I also have like an entire series of Samurai Jack right next to it. It's always morally right to pirate when there is no alternative. And since most of those series are out of print, I don't feel bad for pirating them. Media preservation is key, everyone. That is the message for today.
Yep.
But like that really does put an end on this 2-hour and 22-minute podcast that I now have to edit because Red is a fucking jackass. Hey Red, if you made it to the end of this podcast, fuck you. Just fuck you for that minute 22:40 that won't exist in any full capacity, because I hate you right now for making me edit at all, because it's the one thing that I am trying very desperately to get people to do for me. But like, I guess final thoughts, everyone. Because this is definitely not going up to like Wednesday or Thursday right now, because I work tomorrow and it is 6:07 right now.
I guess my final thoughts would be just hoping that going back to the beginning of the stream, hoping Chainsaw Man's anime and Bleach's anime continue to do well, and obviously bring in new fans, but praying that the toxicity for Chainsaw Man doesn't go overboard like it has done with some other series. And obviously, maybe when people go back and watch the Thousand Year Blood War as an anime, maybe they'll come to appreciate the arc a lot more.
Yeah. See, I still don't think that's going to be fully the case, but I do see that being the case to some extent. My final thoughts just being, yeah, I want both of these projects to do really well. I do still want the novels to do to become content as well for the anime, because there's a lot of good stories in those novels. But like Red, I think my tastes have progressed since I was a big fan of Bleach, and it's an unfortunate reality of growing up, I guess, because you don't really find the same things as enjoyable. And Bleach was, like with Red, like a big foundation of my childhood. Naruto a bit more so, but Bleach was still there. It was still one of the first anime I watched, other than the starter packs, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, yada yada yada. But I do think that Chainsaw Man will still outpace it, just simply because it's become this enigma of a phenomenon. But the other anime I want to do really well and kind of rebound is Record of Ragnarok. I do want season 2 to actually be watchable. That'd be nice. To have a watchable season 2 of Record of Ragnarok. But I also don't picture that being a thing. But I know that premieres in like 2-3 weeks, doesn't it?
Let me look it up. Also, as well, just got to quickly say for all you Tokyo Revengers fans, series is ending in five chapters.
The insufferable
Apparently,
fan base
fan
will
base
go
is
away.
happy about it.
Wait, what?
The fan
Oh
base,
yeah, no, like
it kind of
because
jumped
like
on it.
in the Shonen League tweet that kind of pointed it out that I saw, everyone was just like, "Yeah, I'm a fan of this series. It should have ended in Arkato."
It's coming. The Record of Ragnarok season 2 is coming out in 2023.
2023. I thought it was this month.
No, I'm looking at it right now.
Wow.
I mean, they need time for all the animation.
Yeah, the slideshow, right?
Yep.
Slideshow of Ragnarok.
I'm definitely glad I went with the manga for that one because the manga's been great. They could just finish round 6.
You're still on round 6. Oh boy, I cannot
Well, I
wait
just
for you.
finished round 6, but yeah, I
Oh
think
boy,
next to Hades is getting involved.
yeah, I cannot wait for you to get to round 8.
Oh God.
Yeah, you mentioned.
I'm gonna before I end the Twitch stuff, I'm gonna finish or getting caught up with that and just read it weekly. And we can make it like a part of the podcast as well, or well, I mean monthly, whenever the scan site puts it up, because I think we got volume 4 here now.
Yeah.
We're like a year and a half behind the Japanese release, like the good old days. So that we gotta rely on scanlations for that shit. So I don't
Yeah, I've
even
been
fucking
doing
mind
it
that.
through Comic Key, and they're pretty far behind, but I don't mind.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll wrap it up. So until next week, peace, everyone.
Peace.